quick. When researching MLB games, I run the exact same check before ever placing a doubles bet. And if you're new here, Outlier has all of the research for you, providing you with everything from batter stats, pitcher stats, ballpark factors, line movement, and everything else. So in this video, it's all about piecing this information together and making it a systematic, repeatable process. Because here's the mistake that most people make when betting on the doubles props. They look at some of the hottest hitters who are batting 300 plus in the MLB and say, sure, he's gonna hit a double today, why not? However, the world of betting on doubles is a lot more complicated than that. A ball crushed at 108 miles an hour and pulled into the wind, majority of the time doesn't land in the gap for a stand-up double. Generally, it ends up as a home run or a very deep out, meaning that the world of betting on doubles is entirely difficult. However, there is a window of opportunity, and the window is hard contact that's hit to the part of the field where nobody is standing, and hopefully the ball hits the fence before the fielder's glove. It's a lot, but yet we still have bettors who are simply relying on high batting averages to bet these doubles bets. So just by going to Outlier and setting up a couple of filters, we now set ourselves up more successful than the average sports bettor. And if we look here at Outlier's mobile app, all you need to do, I already have these filters set up, click this little filter button here and I'll go through everything with you. So I just have doubles selected, and then what I'm looking at is the hit rate, and what I'm looking at is the 2026 season, which is the current season. Now, doubles are not hit that often in games, so I just set that to 20%. Now, you can see that there are 38 results, so if you wanted to bump this up to a little bit higher to even 25%, you can filter that down even more, but I want to leave that to just 20%. As you can see, there are 38 results. Now, what I also do is I set my odds. You can feel free to adjust this however you would like, but I just leave this at roughly plus 500. So again, we are looking at 38 odds, and then what I'm looking at is the over. You can look at all for over or under, but I am just looking at players to actually hit a double. Then from there, we can hit the 38 results and seeing exactly what we have. Now, I wish it was all about setting the right filters, and then that all of a sudden is going to make you a profitable sports bettor. It unfortunately doesn't stop there. So if you want to win more doubles props, make sure that you listen up. There is a stat that nearly no one checks, yet it predicts doubles at a higher rate than batting average, exit velocity, and even their recent form. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to find this so we can start winning more doubles bets together. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So now that I have these filters set over here on Outlier, all I need to do is start diving into each one of these. So I'm going to look at this Mauricio Dubon play at plus 368 on DraftKings. Now, if you wanted to look at your particular books that you bet on, all you need to do is click this drop down arrow and select all of the different books that you bet on. I am just going to leave it at DraftKings, and again, I'm going to look at this Mauricio Dubon play for the Atlanta Braves. Now, as you can see here, he's hit 4 doubles in his last 10 games, but while this is important, it isn't what I necessarily check every single time. What I actually do is I go down here to the key matchup stats. Now, what you can see here is we can actually scroll on this, and I want to scroll all the way to the end. And the most important number that we're actually looking at here is this line drive percentage. What I want to see is this number sitting at either 21% or higher. So the fact that we're having this at 22% is really good, meaning that it is higher than league average. And again, right-handed batter versus right-handed pitching. So again, this is what I'm really looking at, is this particular matchup for this starting pitcher, because this is more likely who he's going to face the most in this game. So 22% is good. Now, the next two numbers that I actually look at is the hard hit percentage and the extra base hit percentage. Now, with this hard hit percentage, I do want this a little bit higher, but not so high. So this 27.8 is actually pretty good. And the reason that I don't want this number so high is the threat of a home run. Because a lot of times you will see players who have high 30s and even low 40s for their hard hit percentage, and generally that leads to a lot of home runs. So the fact that we have a higher line drive percentage and then lower hard hit percentage is actually a really good sign for us, but then also is this extra base hit percentage as well. So how many times is his at-bats leading to an extra base hit? Well, you can see here versus right-handed pitching, it is 28.8% of the time, which again is a very good number. Now, not only do I want to check the batter stats, I also want to check the pitcher stats as well, and you can see that here. And again, we are looking for the same metrics, the line drive percentage. 30.1% on the 2026 year is a very high number for a starting pitcher, but versus right-handed batters, that is 35%. So he is absolutely getting crushed by right-handed batters. Now, hard hit percentage, we want the same exact mindset. 34.1% is a little bit high, but again, not too bad. So with that said, this is still pretty good for us. A high line drive percentage with an okay hard hit percentage. And then the extra base hit percentage, now, the season average, 35.9%. So overall, allowing a good amount of extra base hits. However, versus right-handed batters, that number does unfortunately go down for us. But regardless, I still think that this is a very good matchup for Mauricio Dubon to get a double. Now, this isn't where my research stops, because the very next thing that I check is actually the weather and the ballpark factor. And all I have to do is click this little button here and you will see that pop up. You have all of the starting pitcher stats for both teams and even the bullpen stats for both teams, as well as the batter stats for both teams. But as I mentioned, what I am actually looking for is the ballpark factor and weather factor for this particular game. Now, what I see here is a slight breeze, really next to no wind at all, but it is blowing back, which is kind of a good sign for me. I don't think it's going to impact the ball too much, but again, that will hopefully help the ball die down before ever going over the fence. Now, it is also important to not only check the weather, but also the ballpark factor as well. Generally, what I want to see is something at least at 100 or higher. So this ballpark factor of 93 is a little bit lower than I would like, and this 27 ranked is not that good. But if we wanted to click it to see more, to see exactly how does this ballpark line up to the other ballparks in the MLB, well, you can actually see that they are tied for dead last with 4 other stadiums in the MLB. So not exactly what we want to see, meaning that this isn't necessarily a hitter-friendly ballpark, and this is compared to the full 2026 season, whereas the orange ranks for higher scores favor batters, and the blue means that lower scores favor pitchers, and that's exactly what we're working with. Now, Mauricio Dubon is a right-handed batter, so if we look at right-handed batters, you can see that number really doesn't get much better at all. So this is maybe the first thing that hasn't necessarily worked into our favor. However, I don't think that this plays a massive impact considering all of the positives that have already worked out for us. So if we do go back, the last and final thing that I actually check on these plays is the line movement. In order to check that, all I need to do is click this button. And once I pull this up, this is an excellent chart for me. What I want to see is actually this line trending down, indicating that, again, these sports books are feeling more confident in the fact that this play is actually going to go over. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you looked at 4:30 this morning, this line was priced at 391. But over the span of today, this has actually dropped down to 368. So roughly, 25, 30 cents is how much this has dropped, indicating, again, that the sports books are willing to pay you less for this play to go over, meaning that, again, they are feeling more confident in the fact that this play is going to go over, and exactly why you need to be checking line movement before ever placing any of these plays. So with everything that was said, here's exactly what you need in order to bet on line drive bets. First and most importantly is that line drive rate specifically for the hitter, but also make sure that you have a good advantage for the opposing pitcher as well. Then you want to check the weather and the ballpark factor for that particular matchup as well. And last but not least is also checking that line movement to see exactly how the market is moving and how these sportsbooks are feeling for any play that you're about to bet. And it's important to note that we had 4 checks and the batting average wasn't even one of them. So what people are using as their sole purpose of betting on doubles, we don't even check. And that's the whole point. That's how you become a profitable sports bettor moving forward. So if you want to run through these same exact checks on these double plays, be sure to check the link down in the description below to get started with Outlier and start your 7-day free trial. Now, if you felt like this video helped, be sure to subscribe to this channel as well, because I am dropping these tutorials every single week. And if you want to be sure to catch the next one, be sure to hit that notification bell as well and get notified anytime these tutorials drop. Anyways, I hope this video helped, and I will see you in the next one. Best of luck betting out there.